Another derby, another win. At this point, it really should not come as a surprise, right guys? We have not lost a single game against Everton since 2021, so beating them is becoming a familiar story for us. Still, every derby has its own magic, and every victory against our rivals feels just as sweet as the first. Before diving into this match though, we want to take a moment to remember our beloved Diogo Jota. He was the hero in the last derby before this one, scoring the winning goal that gave us all unforgettable joy. Our number 20 will always remain in our hearts. Now, this latest game really felt like a story of two halves, which you could argue has been the case in most of our matches this season. In the first half, we completely dominated Everton, keeping the ball, controlling the tempo, and not allowing them to breathe. The second half was a different story. Even though we did not face many truly dangerous chances, the game still felt alive because we allowed our neighbours to grow into it and push for something. It was never entirely comfortable, which is what makes derbies so intense. So if you happen to miss the game, or you just want to relive exactly what went down, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and let us get right into it. And of course, you already know how we do things here at Panenka LFC. Traditions never die, so we will begin exactly where we always do, with the starting lineup. Alisson was of course between the posts, with Milos Kerkez making his return to the left-back spot. In the middle we had our trusted duo, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, while Connor Bradley also came back into the team at right-back. A new fullback pairing for this one, and believe me, these two played a huge part in why we controlled that first half. Stick around because we are going to break down exactly how they did it. Moving into midfield, there was just one change. Florian Wirtz started on the bench to get some well-deserved rest, which meant Ryan Gravenberch, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Alexis Mac Allister formed our midfield trio. And up front, it was exactly what we expected. Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo, and Hugo Ekitike leading the attack. Now, as we said, the fullbacks were key to our first half dominance, so let us explain. From the very first minute you could notice something different about Kerkez and the way he positioned himself. In recent games, he had been the one tucking inside, almost acting like a third centre-back next to Van Dijk and Konate. He did make the occasional run forward, but most of the time he stayed deeper, recycling possession and helping us build play from the back. In this game though, things were different. Right from the start, you could see Kerkez's intentions as he pushed high and tucked in narrow, right into Everton's defensive block. And why was that? The main idea was to pin Everton's wide players deep and keep them occupied. For example, you can clearly see Kerkez pinning Ndiaye, which stopped him from pressing higher or drifting wide to help his fullback. This little adjustment gave us a big advantage. It meant we had more time on the ball during our build-up without Everton closing us down too quickly. At the same time, it created more space for our wingers, isolating them one-on-one. In this case, it was Gakpo who benefited the most, finding himself with room to test his defender whenever we pushed forward. In the very next sequence, you can see the same idea play out on the right side with Bradley and Salah. This time, Bradley tucks inside to occupy Grealish, which frees up Salah to drop a little deeper. By doing so, Salah has all the space he needs to receive the ball while facing the inside of the pitch, which is exactly where he is at his most dangerous. Now, in this particular moment, the pass into Salah was not played. Instead, the team decided to recycle possession and switch it over to the left, and once again the pattern became clear. On that side, Kerkez made sure to do his job, pinning his man and creating the isolation we talked about earlier. This allowed Gakpo to find himself one-on-one out wide, the exact situation we wanted to keep forcing. So what happens if one of Everton's wide players chooses not to follow our fullback? The answer is simple. It opens up an easy passing lane straight into midfield. You can see an example of this on your screen when Kerkez was found behind Everton's midfield line, completely free to receive the ball. It was a clever movement that showed how dangerous this setup could be. Unfortunately, we were not able to fully take advantage of that particular situation, but the warning signs were there for Everton. Every time they hesitated, we had the chance to break their lines and move the ball into dangerous areas. The good news is that only a few seconds later, this exact tactic of using our fullbacks to isolate the wingers finally paid off. You can clearly see Bradley making an aggressive run into the half space, which immediately drags Grealish with him and leaves Salah isolated out wide to receive the ball. But the move did not stop there. Bradley kept going, and this time his run pulled the centre-back out of position. Suddenly, Everton's defensive line was stretched wide open, leaving a gap right through the middle. Gravenberch read the situation perfectly, spotting the space and driving into it with perfect timing. All that was needed was a moment of quality from Salah, and of course he delivered. He whipped in a magical cross right into that gap, and Ryan was there to meet it with the best possible finish. A brilliant team goal born out of smart tactics and perfectly executed runs. The second goal came in a completely different way. Right after we regained possession from an Everton long ball, the team reacted quickly. A sharp combination between McAllister and Szoboszlai opened up space, and Gravenberch was the one to receive the ball in a perfect pocket. What really stood out in this moment, though, was the movement and composure of Hugo Ekitike. Watch closely at the timing of his run. As soon as Alexis released the pass into Gravenberch, Hugo planted his right foot, shifted his weight, and was already preparing to explode toward goal. By the time Ryan controlled the ball, Ekitike was ahead of his markers, giving himself that extra step of separation. Even better were the little details. Before receiving the ball, Hugo made 2 quick glances to check his surroundings, making sure he knew exactly where Pickford was and where the pressure was coming. With all that information in his head, he made it look simple. 2 quick touches with his right foot, the first to set himself, the second to finish the chance with confidence. A striker's goal, executed to perfection. The way Hugo times his runs is not something new to us. We had already noticed this back in his Frankfurt days. If you watch the scouting report we made about him, you'll remember that timing runs in behind was one of the strengths we highlighted. And now we're seeing it play out in real time for Liverpool. With 3 league goals already, not even counting the one he scored in the Community Shield, we can say with confidence that this deal has turned out really well so far. In this game, both Gravenberch and Ekitike were outstanding. Gravenberch controlled the midfield in the first half, dictating the tempo and driving the ball forward, while Ekitike gave us a constant outlet up front, always available for link-up play and stretching Everton's defence. But there is one more player who simply cannot go without a mention, and that is our captain, Virgil van Dijk. He has been colossal this season. Virgil is literally dictating everything on the pitch, whether it is when to recycle possession, when to step forward, when to slow things down, or when to inject more speed into our play. His leadership and composure have been vital. On and off the ball, he was making the right moves, and once again he delivered a masterclass from the back. For that, he deserves a huge shout out, not just for this game, but for the level of consistency he has been showing all season long. Now, being 2 goals up going into the second half, you would think it should be an easy game to see out, right? Well, by now we all know that is never the case for us Reds. Just like in several other games this season, where we almost threw points away, the intensity dropped again after the break, especially in our pressing. Our press this season has been inconsistent more than anything. And when it turns reactive instead of proactive, that is when opponents start to grow in confidence. That is exactly what happened here. Everton began to find more joy as the half went on. By cranking up their aggression and pressing higher up the pitch, they dragged us into a chaotic vertical slugfest. Suddenly we were making mistakes on the ball, losing composure, and giving them the chance to put us under real pressure. Eventually that pressure resulted in their only goal of the game. It came from a cross that Kerkez maybe could have dealt with better as he misjudged the flight of the ball. But to be fair, despite that mistake, the young fullback still had a very solid performance overall. Both with and without the ball, this was probably his best showing in a Liverpool shirt so far. And what stood out was how he responded to the setback. After their goal, he made 2 brilliant clearances in the later stages to help secure the win. That kind of reaction shows the mentality and resilience he brings to the team. So that was another derby win for the Reds, and honestly, it never gets old. Beating Everton always brings that extra bit of joy, and the way we did it this time, with smart tactics and some brilliant individual performances, makes it even sweeter. Goals from Gravenberch and Ekitike gave us the platform, and even though the second half was not as comfortable as we would have liked, the lads got the job done in the end. What I really take away from this game is how different players stepped up. From the fullbacks creating overloads, to Gravenberch controlling the midfield, to Salah showing once again why he is our star man with that magical assist. And of course our captain Virgil van Dijk, leading by example like he always does. These are the moments that build confidence and character in a squad, and it feels like we are starting to see the team grow into something special this season. So Reds, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who is your man of the match, and how confident are you feeling about the rest of the season? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more from Panenka LFC.